Let's talk about how to make dumbbell preacher curls more effective. But first let me ask you a basic question. Why the dumbbell preacher curl over the barbell version? Well, it's easier on the elbows from an alignment perspective. And because you're training each arm independently with added stability, you get more motor unit recruitment. And that holds true as the weights go up. See, as the dumbbells increase in size and you get stronger, if you're doing any other variation, you have to lean to the sides. You're forced into a bit of a side bend just to get your arms vertical in the starting position. If you don't, you end up squishing into yourself and creating more torque at the elbows, which can lead to uncoordinated wrist twisting or discomfort. This is exactly what we see with heavy alternate curls. All the big bodybuilders curling over 50 pounds use this form. Not because they're ego lifters, but because it's the only way to make the exercise fit their body structure in a smooth, pain-free way. And it's not pretty to look at, though still highly effective. The wider you are, the more restrictive it becomes. And the form 100% changes as you get stronger. Whereas with the dumbbell preacher curl, from curling 20 pounds all the way up to 60 pounds, so literally tripling your strength, it feels mostly identical. The shoulders are in a more flexed position, maximally stable, and away from your lats. You're just digging into the pads, not yourself, and adjusting your body angles to match your structure, and pulling in tight for tornado level stability. You could also say it's safer. If you're about to fail, you can use the other arm for self-spotting. So that's why I prefer the dumbbell preacher curl. Of course, the barbell version is better for time efficiency. In terms of execution, my number one pro tip I have is to perform the preacher curl off an incline bench, not the typical preacher station. For one reason, it standardizes the range of motion. Now I'll say this, 99% of you are natural, so you're very unlikely to tear a bicep doing full range of motion preacher curls. But that's not the problem here. I'm not here to fearmonger you. The real problem is that when an exercise doesn't have a stopping point, it can lead to inconsistent reps or progressively less range of motion. That's a real concern, which is why I prefer when there's physical contact. Like if you're doing partials on the bench press, I prefer a board press, not where the bar floats right above your chest, or chin to bar pull-ups for lengthened partials instead of randomly stopping in the air. It's the exact same thing with preacher curls. Now I know everyone says the whole point of preacher curls is to bias the length position more. So then why would you want to add something that stops you, right? Well, you're not doing dead stop reps. It's a very light touch. And even if it were dead stop, in that case, the arm would already be past full straightness. And you could also make the argument that this would reduce muscle damage. That said, you're still working the lengthened position very hard. So that is not a con at all, as long as you don't bounce off the bench. And when you do a minor touch, yes, it's a tiny reduction in range of motion, which can actually be better here because sometimes the bottom of a preacher curl is too difficult due to the mechanical disadvantage. So if you reduce that range of motion ever so slightly, about an inch, which is so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and let's be real, most of you are already doing that without the incline bench being there, then what's the problem? There is none. Everyone is careful at the extreme, and let's keep it real, we don't want to hyperextend our elbows. And plus, let's say you do fail. At least the injury risk is low. So if you don't buy my argument that naturals have stronger tendons, this guarantees safety. Plus, you won't have to rush with the other arm or reset your whole setup. This is especially problematic with the barbell preacher curl. If you get stuck at the bottom, you basically have to lift your whole body up to re-rack the bar on those safety pins. And sometimes you don't even have them. That's why I like tactile feedback. And again, it won't hurt your bicep gains. Now the secret trick here, you're lowering it forward, away from your body. This ensures the range of motion stays super deep. You're not trying to close off the elbow angle or keep it in tight like an arm wrestler. Exaggerate reaching towards the seat of the incline bench. That's the cue. Now in terms of the bench itself, the classic preacher bench is set to 45 degrees. So you should probably match that here. On most adjustable benches, that's going to be 2 stops up. Typically 30, 45, then 60 degrees. After that, you're in spider curl territory. which is more shortened bias. So most lifters do best at 45 degrees when they're standing up, but 60 degrees also feels nice, particularly if you're a taller individual or you want to make the exercise a little bit less lengthened bias but still get the preacher curl benefits form-wise. Or maybe you're doing this on a B day if you're training biceps frequently and not rotating between barbells and dumbbells, but you want to slightly reduce muscle damage. Well, in this case, you can use 2 angles of dumbbell preacher curls. To keep it simple, the steeper the angle becomes, the more it starts to look like a concentration spider curl hybrid. But honestly, that's my least favorite way of doing it. I believe 45 degrees is that perfect angle, and explains why most preacher benches at the gym are built like this. So copy that. If changing angles alone gets stale, another great hack is to switch to the hammer curl variation, which also solves the first so-called problem about reducing range of motion by an inch. When the arm is in a neutral position, the plates can now be flush at the bottom, and you can actually tilt your wrist downward. You flick the wrist down, then flex it up, getting that arm wrestling effect as well, which will do a lot for your forearms. But most notably, that little wrist motion helps you get out of the bottom, which is great. And in general, it's been said that the closer you get to pronation in the bottom, the more you stretch the biceps. So that's an underrated secret that I learned about from Mendel Henselmans. Another thing about the hammer curl is that it automatically protects your biceps tendons and maximizes alignment. So we have tripled down on safety. And of course, never forget, the biceps' primary function is still elbow flexion. So you're always working it. You don't need to supinate even if it's optimal. But for those of you who have golfer's elbow, or if you want to get more brachialis plus bicep in a length position, this is an S tier option as well. So you can get just as deep as a normal preacher bench while being safer in the bottom thanks to the standardized neutral grip. Speaking of forearms, here's a related secret from Larry Scott, which is to flex your forearms hard, specifically in the bottom. If you're supinated and doing elbow flexion, it makes no difference whether your wrist is flexed hard or not. That doesn't reduce biceps activation. It just adds more forearms into the mix. But, most importantly, when you flex those forearms, you get enhanced stability and you're in a stronger position. It also turns the movement into a more complete lift, and it feels better when you're coming out of the most vulnerable, hardest position, just like I talked about before. Again, Larry Scott always emphasized this, and he's the man who invented the damn exercise. So you should take this advice seriously. His standard was that your wrist curl strength should at least be equal to your preacher curl strength. It should be 1-to-1, if not greater. And if you can't do that, at some point, you're going to hit a sticking point on your preacher curls. You won't be able to progress past a certain number because your wrist stability will become a limiting factor, especially if using a thicker dumbbell. Without strong forearms, you'll also have less protection in the bottom. Less cushion means less internal stability where it matters most. For that reason, you should be doing dumbbell wrist curls on the side. If you're doing preacher curls with 50 pounds, you should absolutely be able to wrist curl 50 pounds as well. If a rep gets difficult out of nowhere, just flex that wrist a little more. That can make the difference between getting stapled or successfully grinding it out. And if the bottom is still too difficult, one little arm wrestling trick you can try, though don't go crazy with this, is to lean forward slightly at the bottom, raising up your arm just a bit off the pad. It just changes the leverages, and this should happen naturally. The dumbbell ends up closer to your center of mass, so it's kind of like back pressure. But if you overdo it, like you lean all the way in and then just pull back aggressively as if it's an intentional momentum-based movement, you're not really curling anymore. You're just doing an isometric hold in the bottom, which will artificially inflate your numbers. So I don't want you falling into that trap. That is not optimal for building big biceps, but a little bit of leaning forward as you descend is fine. In a perfect world, if you want to keep it clean, you'd keep everything away from you. Armpits fully pressed into the bench, with the arms as far forward as possible in the starting position, then pulling yourself away on all ends. But I'm just saying, when the weight gets high, there's nothing wrong with leaning in a bit if the bottom becomes too hard on some reps. It's like when we talk about standing curls. A little bit of torso sway is fine. I would not classify this as a cheat curl. Now going back to alignment, I recommend using the same side arm with a forward leg straddle and bracing the non-working arm for stability. So if you're curling with your right arm, You want your right leg in front of you, left leg out, basically southpaw. Use a fighting stance for your preacher curls. And then you want to twist the body. In this example, you want to rotate your hips to the left so that your shoulders and biceps are more in line. Kind of like if you were in a crucifix position with a cable coming out from each side, like Ronnie Coleman's dual cable curl, where you're flexing your biceps in a stretched sideways stance. You want to mimic that position here. That's the best way to make sure your wrist is fully supinated. So there's less tendency to use a semi-supinated grip like an easy bar, which I'm guilty of doing. And you are going to see that in these clips because that's still the default. I'm just saying if you want perfection, this is what you could do. So this is where you're feeling everything in the biceps. And each rep looks perfectly consistent. It's by far the most locked in, strict position for maximum biceps activation. But it's also the most humbling. Then with the other arm, you're pulling really tight into the bench like a row. And you want to keep your legs as close as possible to your center of mass. Get them really dug in. And if you can squeeze them against something in front of you, like the bench or the post, whatever, even better. You don't want to be loose on this curl. And one more thing, you'll notice that with dumbbell preacher curls, it's lengthened only. There's no tension whatsoever at the top. So you can either skip the lockout if you want, which is fine because there's nothing going on there to begin with, or you can use that top position as an opportunity for a mini rest pause. Take a couple deep breaths and get a few more reps in. That's usually what I do. Otherwise, you could take the opposite route and get more tension at the top. This is a bonus tip. Best way to do that is by using very light cable tension while holding a dumbbell. So we're talking about using a wrist cuff with a dumbbell. I know it sounds crazy, but it would work. You could also replicate this with a bit of band tension in front of you, just enough to give you a minor squeeze at the top. That would make it slightly less lengthened bias, but now you can do full range of motion and still have some resistance at the top. It's going to feel more like a single arm machine preacher curl. So it's a good option for mimicking the expensive prime single arm preacher curl. So these are the best ways to change resistance profile if you feel like you're stalling out. But honestly, if you just get stronger at the regular dumbbell preacher curl, you're probably going to be just fine. This is one of my favorite biceps exercises that I've been doing from the beginning, and I'm getting quite strong at it. I hope you do too with these unique form tips. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you want to see the barbell edition, and I'll see you next time.